There's a sentence smart people say right before they give up on you, and you've definitely heard it. It's two words, it sounds polite, it's actually a verdict. Huh, interesting. The moment you hear it, you've been silently filed into a category you can never argue your way out of, and science says you won't even feel it happen. In the next 8 minutes, I'll show you the 15,000-person study behind that sentence, the 2-second checklist running in their head, and at the end, the only test that reveals which side of it you are on. Let's start with the study I mentioned at the beginning, because it's real and it's weird. In 2016, evolutionary psychologists Norman Lee and Satoshi Kanazawa analyzed data from over 15,000 adults for the British Journal of Psychology. The headline finding? For most people, more frequent socializing correlated with higher life satisfaction. But for the highest intelligence group, the correlation flipped. More social interaction, lower satisfaction. The researchers called it the Savannah theory of happiness, but here's the practical translation. Intelligent brains treat low-quality interaction the way your body treats junk food. A little is fine, a steady diet is corrosive. Now, stack a second piece of real math on top of that. In 2013, programmer Alberto Brandolini formulated what became known as the bullshit asymmetry principle. The amount of energy needed to refute nonsense is an order of magnitude bigger than the energy needed to produce it. 10 times the effort, every single time. So, run the equation. If correcting nonsense costs you 10x the energy of the person producing it, and low-quality interaction measurably reduces your well-being, what does a rational actor do? They stop. Not because they're mean, because they did the math you haven't done yet. And here's the detail that makes it stranger. Lee and Kanazawa found one exception inside the exception. Highly intelligent people who spent more time with close friends were less happy than those who didn't, as if their brains had a project running that friendship kept interrupting. In other words, their silence toward fools isn't a downgrade of you, it's the same tax they charge people they love. Once you see that, the coldness stops looking personal, because it never was. Here's the part where most videos would tell you about the Dunning-Kruger effect and call it a day. You've heard it. Kruger and Dunning, 1999, Cornell. People scoring in the 12th percentile estimated they were in the 62nd. Incompetence hides itself from the incompetent. Fine, common knowledge. But here's the finding almost nobody quotes from that same paper, and it changes everything. The low performers didn't update their self-assessment even after seeing other people's superior answers. Exposure to competence didn't fix the blindness. Only one thing did: training them until they actually became competent. Sit with that. It means the intelligent person's favorite fantasy, if I just explain it clearly enough, they'll get it, was experimentally falsified in the original study everyone cites. Clarity is not the missing ingredient. Skill is. And you cannot install skill in a 2-minute argument at a dinner table. Charlie Munger had a phrase for people who ignore this. I never allow myself to have an opinion on anything that I don't know the other side's argument better than they do. Notice what that implies. The discipline isn't in arguing better, it's in choosing when arguing is even a valid move. There's a mirror image of this trap, and it's worse. The same 1999 paper found that top performers underestimated themselves. They assumed the task felt easy for everyone. So picture the actual conversation. A person too skilled to realize they're rare, explaining something to a person too unskilled to realize they're wrong. Both calibrated incorrectly in opposite directions. That's not a debate. That's two broken speedometers comparing readings. Smart people quit that conversation because it can't mathematically converge. Let's continue with the backfire nobody warns you about. But surely facts help a little? Sometimes. And sometimes they do the opposite. Political scientists Brendan Nyhan and Jason Reifler documented cases where corrections made misinformed people double down, the so-called backfire effect. Now, to be honest with you, because this channel doesn't do convenient half-truths, later replications, including a large 2019 study by Wood and Porter, found full-blown backfire is rarer than the internet claims. Corrections usually nudge people slightly toward accuracy. But here's the catch that survived all the replications. The nudge is small, it decays within days, and it almost never changes behavior or voting or spending. So the intelligent person's cost-benefit sheet reads 10x energy expenditure, temporary millimeter of accuracy, zero behavioral change. You wouldn't accept that return on a stock. Why accept it on your Tuesday evening? Worse, while the correction fades, something else sticks. Memory researchers call it the continued influence effect. Even after people accept that a claim was false, they keep using it to make decisions, as if the retraction never happened. The brain files the story and shreds the correction. So the intelligent person isn't just getting a bad return on the argument, they're depositing accuracy into an account that automatically converts it back into the original error by Friday. Now the new angle, the one that separates people who quote studies from people who understand them. Psychologists studying compassion fatigue, originally in nurses and therapists, found that empathic engagement is a depletable resource. Every act of patiently modeling another person's confused mind burns what researchers call cognitive empathy, actively simulating a worldview that isn't yours. Intelligent people are better at this simulation, which means, brutally, that a confused conversation costs them more, not less. They can't not see all the errors. It's like asking a chess grandmaster to watch someone hang their queen 40 times an hour and stay serene. So the modern intelligent person hasn't become unkind, they've become a budget manager. They've moved from retail kindness, correcting everyone, everywhere, for free, to wholesale kindness, writing, building, teaching people who asked to be taught. Same empathy, radically better allocation. That's why they smile, nod, and say, "Huh, interesting," and change the subject. That phrase, "Huh, interesting," is not agreement. It's an invoice they've decided not to send. Now the 3 filters they run. Steal these. Filter 1. Did they ask? Unsolicited correction has roughly the success rate of unsolicited advice, approximately 0, with the added bonus of making an enemy. If they didn't ask, the intelligent person doesn't answer. Filter 2. Is the audience the point? Sometimes smart people do still argue publicly. Watch closely. They're never talking to the fool. They're talking to the silent onlookers who are persuadable. If there's no audience, there's no argument. Filter 3. Is this ignorance or identity? Ignorance is a gap, fillable. Identity is a load-bearing wall. Touch it and the whole house fights back. The Kruger-Dunning data says only training fixes the gap, and no dinner table sentence renovates a wall. 3 filters, 2 seconds. That's the whole cold demeanor you've been noticing. It was never a personality. It was a checklist. And here's the uncomfortable final thought, why you should be worried rather than smug. Everyone watching this video just nodded along, imagining themselves as the intelligent one. Statistically, some of you are the person being quietly filtered out. The 1999 study guarantees you can't feel it from the inside. So here's the only reliable test. Intelligent people change their minds out loud. They say, "I was wrong about that," in public, regularly, without dying. When's the last time you did? If you can name it, date, topic, witness, congratulations, you're probably on the right side of the silence. If you can't, someone in your life is smiling, nodding, and saying, "Huh, interesting."